Hey everyone, so today we're back to Unit 6 on the Great Depression and the New Deal, and we're going to be looking at Lesson 7 today. So, notice we've been moving right along here. So the Great Depression happened, we looked at where it came from, how people experienced it, how the government debated responses to it. Ultimately, the New Deal came into place from the Democratic Party. It was a liberal point of view with Franklin D. Roosevelt. That was the last lesson, seeing what are these different agencies of the New Deal itself. Now, within that lesson, you had to look at some cartoons, and those cartoons demonstrated how there were people in favor of the New Deal and people against the New Deal. What we're going to be looking at today is focusing more on that idea that people disagreed whether the New Deal was really what should be what the government was doing in order to address the Great Depression. Right? So essentially, political perspectives on the New Deal, which we established yesterday, and how different points of view viewed it differently. Essential questions, just two of them today. What were the diverse perspectives on the government's response to the national crisis? How and why did people have contrasting ideas? So that goes well with those political perspectives, different ideas on the same topic. Why did they disagree with each other? And the second one there ties back into your Axes paragraph prompt that you have for this unit. To what extent was the U.S. federal government's response appropriate to the crisis that the nation faced? Was the response too much, not enough, or just right? Now, those different perspectives tie into that last part of whether the response was just right, or whether it went way too far with government intervention, or that the government should have intervened a lot more than they actually did. Okay, the key skill for today is corroboration. So we've established what the New Deal is. It is a liberal point of view, but most Americans agreed with it at the time. But you're going to be looking at sources that disagreed whether it was enough or if it went way too far in what it was trying to do. So what you have to consider is you've got the New Deal. How do these new perspectives corroborate or don't corroborate, disagree with the New Deal itself? So to consider that, are the perspectives of the two authors more similar or more different? Explain why. I think we know they're more different, but why are they more different? And then are the claims they make in the sources more similar and different? So perspectives, but also what they say or reveal within the source. And that's a little bit of that close reading of citing specific details that show where they agree or where they disagree. Right. The big picture content concepts that you need to get out of this today is that, again, from yesterday, most Americans supported and benefited from the New Deal, but there was disagreement as to whether it was working or not. And then lastly, political perspectives from both the left and the right found ways to criticize the New Deal and made different propositions as to how to fix the economy. So the New Deal is a liberal position, but people further to the left on the spectrum than the New Deal disagreed with it, but also people further to the right said they don't want the New Deal to exist at all. So you're going to be seeing those perspectives today through primary sources. All right, so let's go to Google Classroom and see what the work looks like for today. So we are on Lesson 7, so we're going to click that one. And notice you've just got this one thing, this one document to look. Copy has been made for you, so you could edit it yourself. I'll open it up. So what we're starting with is on the first page are three different plans. So the New Deal was a plan that Franklin Delano Roosevelt made. Remember, he was a liberal Democrat, but other plans were put forward by other people who wanted to do different things. So three textual primary sources, three different ideas from the New Deal. On the second page are three cartoons that are criticizing the New Deal. You want to basically be looking at these cartoons and decide, how is it criticizing the New Deal? Why does it disagree with what the New Deal was or who Roosevelt was and what he was doing? Notice that if we just look at these briefly, we see Roosevelt's right there, he's right there, and he's right there. So you're going to find these criticisms aren't just about the policies, but about the person and the political figure as well. So here's your work. Notice documents A through C, alternative plans to the New Deal, sourcing, close reading, corroboration for each of those three documents. So you want to decide for sourcing what political terminology could be associated with the point of view of this document. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to go back to Lesson 4, and I think it was posted for Lesson 5 as well, is seeing what those terms from the political spectrum were to see how they fit in with the document that you just read. Right. Second, summarize the author's claim. So they make a plan for what to do instead of the New Deal. Question is saying, what is their plan? What do they want to do? And then lastly, corroboration. Why would this source or author agree or disagree with the New Deal's plans to end the Great Depression? So you're going to find with these that there might be some ways where it's like, oh, well, they both agree that the government should be intervening, but they disagree about how much intervention or what type of intervention. That corroboration is you saying the New Deal did this, but this person wants to do this instead. It's kind of like the New Deal in one way, but different in other ways. So A through C, alternative plans. The next three, like I said, are criticisms of FDR and his New Deal. So firstly, contextualize it. So think to the dates that deal with the Great Depression itself and say, when was this cartoon created relative to the New Deal and the Great Depression? What other events were occurring that might have influenced for why this document happened? So was the document from very early on in the Great Depression? Was it from after the New Deal had actually happened, long after it had happened? I tried to give you some hints within the source line for the cartoons. Close reading, summarize the author's claims. So what problem does the author have with FDR and his policies? You can see that in there of the author believes blankety blank. And then the second close reading question is write in what the details were in the cartoon itself that made you realize what their claim was in whatever you put on the left. At the very bottom, what I'm asking you to do is you've now looked at 6 documents that criticize the New Deal. And make sure you realize where they fit in on the political spectrum. So are they further to the left or further to the right than the New Deal, right? So you want to figure out where they fit in so you understand whether it was a criticism that it was doing too much. That would be a criticism from the right, or a criticism from the left saying the New Deal actually wasn't doing enough to help Americans and fix the Great Depression. So that's one of the big ideas, is the New Deal's kind of in the middle because both sides were criticizing it from either end. All right. We'll go back to the directions very briefly. So remember, key ideas are that people had different ideas in this time period about how to respond to the crisis. You can figure out how those perspectives fit with each other through corroboration. And your key concepts are, again, that people disagreed about the New Deal and their disagreements were guided by their political perspectives. All right, folks, that's it. So you'll see me for lesson 8 next time. Until then, good luck. Try your best.